All right, we're live. We're doing it. We're here.
We're here. We're
Welcome,
talking about
everyone.
books.
We're talking about books. We're talking about a great book, in fact. I'm
Right.
very excited. If you're just tuning in and you're new for some reason, I'm Kristen, the Comic Slayer. That's my buddy Joe, the Guz Bus. Check out his channel.
Thank
All the
you.
links will be in the thing. You know where to find them.
In the thing
In the
or the
thing.
doobly doo.
Doobly do. Yeah. I almost said it, but I was like, does anybody really say it but me? I don't know. But hey, we got some people here already. What's up, DJ Organic?
What
Cool. Yeah.
is up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I just
James.
flipped on the chat. I see Larry's first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish I could pull that up. I think I was talking to him last night and he was like, I'm going to comment right now. I was like, I don't think I'm going to see that later.
He commented at 10:32.
Right when I put it up. So funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's my dad, Larry's Library. You can check him out if you want. But I don't know. He has more subs than me. You don't need to check him out. Check me out. It's fine. Hello, Chris. Jackie, what's up? Hey.
James is a big cheerleader. Thank you so much, James. That's
Yeah.
what he posted in the group.
Oh, really?
Cool
I
of
didn't
him.
see that.
Yeah,
Thank
it was
you,
very
James.
cool.
Very nice, James. Appreciate you.
Very cool.
Well, we're here to talk about one of the best. I'm going to say it, one of the best. In fact, I consider this my all-time favorite series, comic series. Some people may be like, I thought you loved Essex County. Didn't that come out in different parks? Yeah, I'm not counting it. I'm not counting it at all. I'm counting that as one thing. But yeah, this is my all-time favorite series, Giant Days. And, this was a reread for me. So we're going to talk about early registration. This was the beginning, the very beginning. John Allison wrote and drew this, self-published it before it came out as the Giant Days we kind of all know and love. As well as volumes 1 to 7. So Joe and I were talking beforehand. We're like, how are we going to talk about this? Do we want to spoil things? Like, how are we going to do it? So we're going to kind of just flip through the issues, I think, and talk about our favorite moments. If you're not aware, Giant Days is about 3 girls in college just living their lives. That's truly it. That is the easiest way to put it. 3 big personalities living together, meeting each other, dealing with life for the first time in college. Not for the first time, I guess, but
well, I want to when I started reading it, what the feeling I got was it was a mix between like a Saved by the Bell show, but with elements of like a Super Bad or American Pie, not over the top in terms of language and all that stuff, but it has these moments where it could get a little spicy and a little funny, but for me it was like a perfect mix of that.
I know what you're trying to say with that.
You know,
that doesn't land with me because I was not a fan of either one of those movies. However, I do know
it goes up to a line.
I'm thinking maybe more like an kind of a slightly edgier, maybe Mean Girls.
Perfect. Right? That's perfect.
Right.
That's
like
perfect.
A little bit, like there are definitely moments where I feel like it's edgier because it's not high school. So it has to be, right?
Yeah. So when I say those movies, I meant like a toned down version of those movies.
Sure. That's fair.
You know,
that makes sense.
Even though you don't like those movies.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right.
It didn't land with me at the time they came out. I don't know. Fair. I was watching other stuff. I don't know.
But yeah, it's 3 girls going to college, and just hilarity. And but there's definitely some heartwarming moments too. All right, but however you want to get into it, let's
I'll say hey to Hayden real quick. Dang, too much beautiful in this show tonight. Hayden?
Calm it down. I don't have the air conditioning here on right now. I don't need it to get hotter, please.
And of course, Hayden changed their username immediately. Oh, Hayden. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So I do want to start. So this was published by Boom. It is complete. So if anyone does want to pick this up after we talked about it or whatever, there are 14 volumes plus early registration, and there's a bonus extra credit trade with like some bonus issues that came out. I have this collected in a different way. I believe you read it
Oh,
digitally.
I have it all
Okay?
digital, correct?
So I do have the early registration trade.
Okay.
Then I have the not on the test edition hardcovers, of which only 3 came out,
I just wish they
unfortunately.
finished those.
Yeah, only 3 came
Wish-
out
Yeah.
because they're beautiful. They are
Yeah, they're
very nice
great.
editions. They're supposed to
Hmm.
be like yearbooks. They look like it. They're
Right.
really nice.
Hmm.
Sadly, they were discontinued.
Right.
They collect about 2 trades each, plus a bit of early registration at the end of each.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yes, I
That's how it was collected in those hardcovers that way?
yeah, and I
Weird.
double dipped. Yes, I did. Because I
It's
was
a
like, well,
good
if I
book.
want to read it all together, you
Right.
know. But yeah,
Right.
so there's a bit of early registration at the end of each one.
Gotcha.
Interesting way they did that. It worked out, but did
Right.
it because they didn't continue them.
Nope.
So that is a bummer. I will
Mhm.
say we could go ahead and say that I believe you messaged John Allison. It was like, hey, you can tell
Correct.
that story if you want.
Yeah, I was well, Chris just mentioned in the chat. He mentioned that they're doing some hardcovers in France or in French, whatever. And so I sent him a message like, you know what, it'd be really great if we could get that in America. And he's like, it might be coming. So stay tuned. He wants it to happen. So fingers
That would be
crossed.
amazing. I mean, they
Yeah.
could do like what, like 2 chunky hardcovers
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
fit everything in there,
Right.
which, we're big
I'm all
chunky
with it.
hardcover fans, so
Yes.
all for
Correct.
that. Absolutely.
Yes.
But yeah, there's plenty of ways you can get it now. You can get it digitally like Joe did.
Yeah.
You can still find these, I believe. I don't
Yeah,
know
I've
if
seen them all
they're
over, yeah.
yeah, I don't know that they're hard to find necessarily.
Mhm.
Is it weird to have a mix of, some people can't handle that. They're like
Eh,
hardcovers and trades. Like, well, that's what I had to do. I didn't want to get
right.
rid of these,
Oh, look at
vanilla.
those spines too. The spines
I
are
know. And they're just beautiful.
so good.
And
So
then the
good.
backs all have like, here's Scary the pigeon,
Yeah.
right? They all
Yeah.
have like little things.
Yeah. It's so good. Oh, the
It's
boxing
almost like
gloves.
did they mean to get discontinued? Because each one has a girl on it, right?
Right. Right. They're like, this is
I
enough.
mean, they could have kept going, of course, with the
Yeah,
side characters, but
exactly. We could have got some Ed and some DeGraw, but
which let's do we want to go ahead and start there? Like we
yeah.
do immediately meet a lot of side characters.
Correct.
Not just, the girls. We do meet Ed,
Right.
who's got all the hair. Sweet
Who's
Ed.
amazing. He's super sweet and uh he's just like he has everybody's back and he means well on a lot of things but fails on a lot of them.
Yeah.
He's such a good side character.
He's a great side character. He's of course in love with Esther and
Right.
she'll never give him the time of day, of
Right.
course. He's just pining the entire time. And we do end up running into is that's not at the beginning, is it? No, it is. Okay.
No,
We meet them
yeah.
both. Yeah.
Hmm.
In the first issue, we meet McGraw, who was
Yes.
Susan's ex,
Hmm.
and she's very angry about him.
Right. When she first sees him and like the back panel become the artwork behind her just red with lines and is just furious that he's in the same town or the same university as her. So funny.
Yeah. And, we don't immediately know what that's about, right?
Right.
That's actually the same panel as that. Yeah. We
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
just like have that moment and they look at each other
Right.
and we don't immediately get that story. We're just like wondering what's going on with them.
Right.
And to just quickly go over their personalities too, the 3 that, we know
Mhm.
and love the entire time. We have Susan, who is she's going for med school of some
Right.
sort,
That's
right?
cool. Yep.
And she's she, how do we describe her? She's got a temper for
She's
sure.
very determined when she wants something. She's super determined.
Hmm.
Um, but that could obviously be a problem, and it does play. It becomes a problem later on. But what else? She's not really the party goer or the party type, but will go to a party.
Right, right.
and
She
kind of be like the hang up. I'm gonna hang out on the wall type of deal, and you guys go have fun. But I'm present.
yeah. She'll tell you how she feels about it, but
Correct.
she'll be a part of it. I feel like she's fiercely loyal, but I
Yeah,
feel like we could
correct.
say that about all of them. You know, they have their
Absolutely.
fiercely loyal to each other as well as
Mhm.
our great side characters that we see.
Right.
You know, Esther, of course, is our goth among the bunch.
Right.
She's got a lot of feelings about death.
Right.
And is also very boy crazy. You know,
Super boy crazy. Yeah.
I believe they make several references and jokes to failing the Bechdel test, the
Right.
whole book. Yeah, because anything she's in, she probably would, because she's always talking about guys.
Right. Yes.
And she's also not great at school. You know,
And
as in, she's just not putting forth that effort that Susan would. Right?
correct. Correct.
She's smart, but she's
Right.
not applying that.
And you'd find that out later on, but
Right, right,
she's not applying herself well. So,
right. And then we have Daisy.
who is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
she is the like mother hen of the three of them that wants to make sure everybody's safe, and um she doesn't like the loud music and is
She loves
very
Enya.
smart. She loves correct.
Obsessed with
Correct.
Enya. That's the kind
Correct.
of chill, you know.
Right. Yeah, she's very chill, and there was there's a panel, and I think, and here we go, we're gonna start jumping all over the
I
place,
know
but
we
it's fun.
are. We
But
can't
it's
handle it. We have to.
but it's in early registration where they first meet, and they go into her room, and this reminds me of like how my mom was growing up, and so her friends jump onto her bed, and she's like, "Excuse me, no shoes in the bed." Like they're having like I think a pretty heavy conversation, and the only thing that she could think about is that there's sneakers on her bed. So, which is pretty funny, but
Yeah, and I
yeah.
actually even skipped past early registration when I was kind of flipping through, but
Right.
but you know, I do recommend people start here if they want
Absolutely.
the actual full story, because if you just start in the Boom series that was put
Mhm.
out, you know, after this, you kind of do miss some stuff. Like
Right.
you can still get into it. You don't really need it, but it
Mhm.
is great how they incorporated this as if that were the
Mhm.
beginning and now you're
Right.
just jumping into the rest. So you get like little flashbacks that happen in
Right.
here, which was really cool. I love how
Yeah.
they did that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that whole, the couple of scenes where you see how they met for the first time, and Susan coming out of the room, like yelling at people for making noise while she's sleeping.
Yeah.
Pretty funny stuff. So, but yeah, that's the three of them. That's the three main characters. Um, then we have Ed, who we touched on a little bit, who is, like we said, a little, he's in love with Esther, um, gullible. I don't know. He's just like, he can't say no, really, to anybody. And then DeGraw, who we said is it DeGraw or DeGraw? I don't,
Uh, I
oh,
can see it
it's not even DeGraw, it's McGraw.
McGraw. Yeah. And I was like,
I
yeah,
just
that's
came up
it.
with a whole new name. Like, who is this?
Love that.
That we find out has a previous relationship with Susan, but it's also like this somber character, not somber, but he's like he doesn't talk a lot, stoic maybe.
And he has his things. Like
He
he's
has his
very
things,
good at like locksmithing
carpentry.
and yeah, and carpentry. It just every kind of like
Right.
he can fix anything. He's that guy, right?
Correct. They need
Which is
tools, they go to him.
exactly.
That's that type of character. But yeah, that's basically the first issue is meeting the gang, and then having the girls bump into McGraw, and now you're wondering what is this relationship, with him and Susan. So yeah.
Absolutely. I do want to address Jessica says, I've resisted getting this physically until consistency is possible. Will this be
Mm.
my time? Again, hopefully We
Fingers
get,
crossed.
yeah, really, really hoping because I'm gonna buy them all again.
Yeah.
I do have these 3 hardcovers plus all the trades. Not all the trades. Everything after the hardcovers, I have the trades.
Gotcha.
So you can consistently get the trades, Jessica, if you really wanted. But yeah, if there's potential for a hardcover, I get it. I'll stick it
I
out.
always hardcover if I can. That's it.
Absolutely. Some people, me, I'm in physical pain seeing this. You have my hardcovers in the trades. I know. And I don't usually do it, but I mean, I couldn't get rid of them. I
Well,
don't.
I'm sure. Did you start with the
Yeah.
hardcovers?
Yeah, I did.
Well, then
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like
Then
waiting it out. Like I first read this on Hoopla
okay.
as the issues came out because
Gotcha.
they would put them on there. So I would read them issue by issue, which, I don't usually do for most things, but this
Right.
works very well on an issue by issue basis because each
Absolutely.
issue really is a contained story.
Right.
Yeah, we still have some crossover and some events keep going and, but it's
Right.
still very good issue by issue.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
I need more house to fit all the books, graphic novels I want. We get it, Jackie.
I get it. I get it.
We get it. Hello, Joe.
Wait, is this Jackie, my friend Jackie?
Is it?
Jackie, if it might be Jackie, if it is you, you say something right now. um. All right. So yes, and then we have Joe Cool. What's up?
What's up, Joe?
It is Jackie.
Oh, there you go.
She is awesome. She's
Love
big
that.
into manga and anime. So
Awesome. Well, welcome,
yep,
Jackie. Very exciting.
cool.
Let's see. So we're on
What
to
are-
what's up?
No, we're on to issue 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. The boom
All
issue.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
this might be, sorry to cut you off, but
no,
this
go
might
ahead.
be my favorite issue of all the books so far.
Wow. Okay. Tell me
And
more.
I'll tell you why. So in this issue, the girls end up getting sick, end up getting the flu, and I forget who it was, but one of the girls is convinced that she will never get sick, and she ends up getting sick. But the
Mhm.
reason why found it so funny, so I am Puerto Rican, and so when I was younger, I was always not around it, but I would hear stories about Santeria, which is like a black magic. Um, it was always a myth. It was always like something maybe to scare the kids with. And so when she goes into she's having, I think it was fever sweats, or she's having fever dreams, and she leaves the room, or she gets dressed. Oh, that's what it was. She gets dressed to go to the doctor, and by she I mean Esther. She gets dressed, goes to the doctor. She puts on a ridiculous outfit, like a top hat and like a tutu, and then opens one of the doors for like one of her neighbors, and she sees them having like just a dinner. Like they're sitting around with candles, they're having wine. She's convinced that they're doing Santeria in the room. Black magic. She's like, oh my God, are they going to kill me? So that was one of the parts that I immediately picked up the iPad and I went to my family. I was like, you got to read this. This is
I love
something
that.
hilarious. Yeah, it was so good. But yeah, so I don't mean to derail, but
Oh no, that's
that was
that's one of the
hands down.
wonderful moments too, because it keeps like continuing, right? So
Mhm.
eventually, even when Esther feels better, she
Right.
sees those people later, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys saved me!" And they're like, "Get away from us! Like we were just like studying. Like what do you want?" Like,
Yeah, I think because she said something maybe that they were like, I forget, where they put all the coats on her, and it was because
mhm.
that she said that she was cold, but she said that they were doing something to her by putting. We're like, we just threw our coats on you, like relax. And that they were drinking blood out of their cups, and they were like, no, it was
Mhm.
just wine,
Yeah,
so relax. But yeah, very funny stuff.
yeah. And Daisy immediately gets some very questionable cold medicine from Ed. Because he's
Right.
taking it, he's like, "Oh, I feel great. I don't know why you're not doing this." And then of course we realize later that that was some black market stuff she really shouldn't have been taking. So this
Correct.
whole time they're all dealing with their colds on like different ways, and
Yep.
it's all so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why it's great.
and Susan's battle with nicotine because her throat is in so much pain. She
She can't
swears the
smoke.
cigarettes are talking to her to take
Yeah.
them or to have a smoke.
Oh,
So
it's
funny.
so good. It's so good, and I want to point out the first 6 issues of the Boom series. The art's by Lisa Treyman.
Right.
It's like this.
Yep.
She eventually, got off the book and then was doing inks for Max, who took
Right.
over Max Sarin.
Right.
And I love the art. I love both the art. Like I love John Allison's art too. I thought they all did the characters very, very well.
100%. And I to the point where I didn't even realize that it went from one artist to another. I had no idea. And then when I went to go follow on Instagram, I was like, wait a minute, this book is drawn by
There's
this
another
person.
person.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
this might
it all
be,
works very well.
yeah, this might be, um, the artwork is done so well because everything is sequential and everything makes sense. And the expressions, as silly sometimes that they might be, with the like sharp teeth when he's drawing
Oh,
somebody, they're drawing somebody with anger or whatever.
Susan angry with her sharp teeth. Every time cracked me up. Like they were like pointy, like shark teeth. If I find one, I'll show you guys. But
Right.
it was always perfect. So
Yeah.
there is that like over the topness to the art,
Correct.
but it's perfect with their personalities. It was so well done.
100%. Yeah. This is so much. It's like a breath of fresh air, clean. I love it. I love the art. Every issue was
Yeah,
fantastic.
me too.
Thank God that. So Max does. I'm assuming Max completes it.
Yeah, yeah,
God. Okay. Good.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about some other rando taking
Yeah.
over.
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, no, you'll be good. You'll be good in Max's hands.
Good. 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 Good.
I'm missing some stuff in the chat. So Jessica
Yeah.
says, I think slice of life stuff is somehow works better issue by issue, which is odd because it's not like it has monster mash cliffhangers or anything.
Mhm.
Something nice about the pacing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Like the pacing in this is consistently
So good.
it's just perfect, because there are moments like I said that, certain relationships that travel from issue to issue and you don't know what's going to happen with,
Right.
and that's consistent. There's a lot of consistency throughout, but at the same time, this is one of those books where they did so good about if you just pick an issue up off the stand, you should be gold. Like you got it.
Right.
You know that they're like best friends and they're dealing with their lives and
Right.
you'll be fine and you'll get every like that whole one story contained in an issue. Like if you would have just picked up
Absolutely.
the cold medicine issue 2,
Right.
you got it, like
Yeah.
you're good. And that's rough. Like a lot I've read a lot of comic books and a lot of people cannot do that.
No, not at all. But yeah, there's only and they don't overwhelm you with the relationships that carry over from issue to issue. They also don't rush it.
Mhm.
Like it's not force fed. Yeah, there are some issues that explore the relationships a little more deeply, but it's not like don't expect it to be the next issue. Sometimes that does happen, but not all the time. And it's just done well. And to the point where you won't forget that if you are
Right.
reading it in order and maybe something was touched on 5 issues ago, you're still going to remember it when you finally get to it. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Jackie loves slice of life. Me too.
Jax,
Like
you got to get on some books. I got a list.
we'll give you a whole list right now. No,
Well, I gave her Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me.
please read it. Yes.
Yeah. I forget what else I gave her. It's a book that Gio had told me about. Summer. Summer was in the title. I don't know.
Cool.
It'll come to mind.
Mary's here. Hey, friends. Sorry I'm late. Hope this is the first of many shows with the 2 of you. That's nice. Yeah, we're gonna have to make it a regular thing, right?
You say the word.
Joe knows what's up here. Yeah.
There it is. Yep. I used to hear crazy stories like downstairs neighbors were bringing goats into the apartment.
Oh
and
man.
nobody's ever really seen a goat.
Yeah.
Like who really saw it? Nobody did. So it's like, come on.
All stories. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all stories.
John Allison, coming from webcomics, knows how to tell stories episodically. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Absolutely.
Like that smash button. Smash that. Thanks, Joe. John does do one issue later in the series. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. It's been a while since I read that later stuff. I'm looking forward to rereading it.
So
But no,
that
he can take over for a second.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, all good.
Oh, my regards to Reed. I'll let him know you said that, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. Did you like the thumbnail he made of us?
Amazing.
I know Joe liked it.
Yeah, I loved it.
This one summer. There you
This
go.
one, Summer, right? That's the other book that I gave her. So yeah,
Cool, cool.
some good books.
Good times.
All right.
All
So
right,
what else
so
we got?
cold medicine. Okay. Let's see, chapter 3. What's going on in chapter 3?
Oh wait, I think chapter 3 is, I believe, when they discover. Is it that there's that
Oh.
website? Am I
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the website of
Boys will be boys, I guess, right?
it's what they always say. These terrible college dudes create this website ranking some women at the college
Right.
as far as hotness, I guess. I forget what they call it exactly, but
Um,
Esther's like number 3, and they find
right.
out she's on this, and then of course she's very angry.
Oh my god, it's called Fresh Meat.
Oh yes,
The 25 hottest first years.
right, right.
Come on, guys,
Of
be
course.
better.
So, all the girls are on a mission now to figure out who's putting this out, and they want to stop it because it's
Right.
some garbage, of course.
Okay.
So, within that, Susan's still very angry at McGraw and
Right.
snaps a photo of him, puts him on this zine she makes about
Right.
feminism. And the men are awful issues, what she called it.
Right.
Because she's just so mad at him. And it ends up circulating around and getting really popular, and and then he's just seeing women be angry at him everywhere he goes to, and it's not a good time. And McGraw's not a bad guy, right?
He's not.
Not at all.
The panel where he confronts her is hilarious.
Yeah, and that's another thing you were saying,
Mhm.
I think before we started, was you've never
Mhm.
laughed out loud as much as you
No.
have reading this. And
Right.
that's how I felt the first time, even rereading it. Like, jokes
Mhm.
still landed so perfectly.
Right.
It's hard to especially from reading something, to get someone to react in a laughing way, right?
Mhm.
I feel like I rarely experience that.
Right.
I
Yeah,
can't
no,
even
this
think
book
of
nails it.
yeah, and there was consistent moments where I'm truly laughing out loud
Right.
consistently.
Because I think it's the writing, obviously, and then the artwork, because like you said, like right when
Yeah.
Susan gets mad, the sharp teeth come out, or
Every time it's good.
yeah, it's just so weird. Or when like Esther is swooning over somebody, they'll do the hard eyes and like solid teeth. Like it's just it's so comical. It's really well done.
And you say teeth that much really makes me realize
Mhm.
how just even artistically changing the teeth, because there are several things that they do with the teeth throughout this,
They are, yeah.
is kind of amazing that that's not a detail that I feel like is focused on a lot, right? But
No.
throughout this story, they do a really great job of
Yeah,
it's
I
not
saw it all the
just
time.
facial expressions. Yeah, it's like there's a whole teeth situation consistently, and it's
Right,
always funny.
right. Yeah, they nailed either Max or what was the other artist's name? I forgot. Help me out.
Lisa Trayman.
Lisa.
Yeah,
They nail expressions. Hands down.
absolutely.
Nail it. Even with it has this kind of cartoony feel, but they nail all the expressions. So that also helps.
Yeah,
Um
they're so good at it.
yeah. So yeah, they're helping so Ed and Susan now want to help also get Esther or these guys in trouble for doing this site because Esther made number 3. She was like number 3 on the list.
Yeah.
She then takes it to the dean. Am I doing it, Jess? Am I spoiling anything? This thing, you cut my mic off.
People in the chat let us know. Yeah, because we were talking about it's like, how do we do this without just kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
talking about every bit of it?
yeah. Right.
But no, I mean that was one of the hardest but also most real parts of this issue, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
She goes to the dean and talks about it, and he's just like, "Ah, it's just a web page. Surely it's a compliment. Like,
Right.
it's fine. Boys will be
It-
boys." And it's like,
exactly.
it
Mhm.
really like it really hit in the like reality of the situation because I'm
Right.
sure this very thing has happened before many
Oh,
times,
100%.
you know?
100%. So they figure out to take matters into their own hands, which is funny seeing Susan like throw on the hoodie and go into the house in the bushes and
Going
stuff.
through the garbage and stuff, trying to figure it out.
Right.
She's so good at like detective work too. That is another consistent Susan's trait that like
Oh,
so
100%.
good at it.
100%. Oh, that's right. And McGraw finding her dumpster, like looks like she's dumpster diving.
Yeah.
He's walking by with a
It's like,
piece
what
of
do
wood.
you
Like, what are you doing? Good
But yeah,
stuff.
do we wanna say how they kinda get back at them or like do we wanna leave that up in the air? I don't know. That was a great moment though.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what to do.
I don't know. I feel like we're just gonna tell you what happens.
Right.
Like, I don't think we're ruining any of this. If anyone in the chat
Right.
has a problem, they'll let us know. But
I
yeah,
mean,
there's
this is not like, a summer blockbuster that you can't
yeah,
know. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So they do end up getting hold of they find the guys, they find a class they're in, and bring Esther to the class, like, oh, we're just gonna watch this, lecture. It's fine.
Right.
She's just like, okay, fine. And but they knew what was gonna happen because they contacted the boys who put on this website's mothers. And the
Right.
moms came in and just laid into them, just yelled at them, and it's like, we raised you better than this,
And just look
And
at that panel, Kristen. The panel where the one mother puts their child in a bag.
oh yeah, the bag one. Where's that? Oh yeah, and that's such a like just little moment
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not even like talked about, and that is one of those consistently like funny background kind of moments where it's
Absolutely.
like you got to be paying attention because there's
Right.
consistent like just
Yeah.
hilarious
Because
moments.
that's like a borderline grown adult
Yeah,
in this woman's purse. And she's like carrying it like it's nothing.
it's so good.
So funny. Yeah, the other mom is lifting up the her son's pants
So
because he's
yeah,
feeling him drag. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
there
funny.
he is, and
Very
they're
fun.
just like watching it the whole time and having a great time.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Let's see what else. Are we jump into the next one? Are we done with this?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened
We have the
there.
little bit of the Daisy Bird thing.
Right, right. We do meet, his name is Gary, right? Gary
Yeah.
Pigeon,
Hmm. Yep.
who
But
she
that,
decides to care for.
correct. Correct. But that's pretty much that issue. Um, and then I think the next issue is where we start to see a little bit of Daisy's, like she's just living with her sexuality a little bit.
Mhm.
She
Also, I
doesn't.
failed. It was Gordon, not Gary. Thank you, Chris. Poor Gordon.
Because um, at this point, we just knew that Susan had something going on with McGraw, and then Esther was boy crazy, but we
Mhm.
really didn't know much about Daisy.
Right.
But she is uncertain herself a little bit. So we are introduced to, and trust me, I don't have this all in my head. It's right in front of me. So I
Good,
would like to
good.
come off like I'm amazing. I have all this
I mean, I
knowledge.
said
No,
Gary, so I was literally on that page. So the bar's low here. It's fine.
right. But we meet. I think it's Nadia.
Yes, yes. I think you're right. I
right? Who and her name? Yes, it's Nadia.
was gonna say Chris will
Who?
correct us. It's fine.
Yeah, come on, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
But where we're first introduced to her, and Daisy's kind of she's kind of feeling her a little bit, but
Mm.
because Nadia is also giving her some vibes, so she's feeling maybe that there's a possibility of something there, and Daisy might want to explore it. Um, but it doesn't turn out in Daisy's favor. So
Yeah, Nadia is like the total opposite of Daisy.
correct.
And they say opposites attract sometimes. So I
Hmm.
think that's what was going on there. But I mean, Nadia just wants to party all the time.
Right.
She wants to do random pills. Daisy's
Yeah.
really
Random.
random pills. Daisy
Right.
goes with it, because she really likes her.
Right.
But it just
It
it,
didn't
it
work
didn't
out
work
that
out.
way.
It didn't
Yeah.
work out. Nadia wasn't feeling it like she was, and I
Correct.
love the moment. I don't know if it's in this issue. I'm trying to find it, but
Hmm.
there's never like a big grand coming out situation with Daisy,
No.
or even just there's conversations with her and the girls, but
Right.
there is this moment where like it's Esther and Susan, and they're trying to figure out if Daisy likes someone. Was it Nadia? Was it this early? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think this was the first time because then we meet Ingrid later on, and I
Right,
don't mean to jump way ahead, but
right, right,
they
right.
I think it's this issue where they um Susan and Esther definitely have this conversation like we don't really know, or it's
Well,
never
they
been
kind
brought
of
up.
they kind of just like look at each other and go,
Right, right,
"Oh," like, and
right,
that's it. It's just like a little baby moment where they're like,
right,
"Oh, okay," and they're like happy and excited for her. And I just
correct,
loved how that was like, it's like, okay, we don't need to like make this a whole issue even about it. It's a
right,
consistent thing that Daisy's like, I don't know. Here's how I feel. I don't know.
right.
But it's not like a big drama moment, right? It's just like a little
And they
tiny
could have
baby.
went that way, but they didn't.
Yeah, which was just really nice to see
Yeah.
because we don't
Hmm.
really see it done that way a lot.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Um, yeah, there's the scene where they're dancing, and it's just crazy seeing Daisy like just obviously she's high because of these pills.
Right. She did take random
Yeah,
pills. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty funny. Her eyes, once she takes the pills, the drawings of her eyes are just these
They're so
blue.
good.
Yeah,
The way they draw expressions is just
right.
perfect. It's
Oh
so
my
well done. And I feel like this is the first issue when it happened that I can remember.
God.
But Esther's demanding a flashback of Susan. She wants to
Mhm.
do a flashback. And that is a consistent theme throughout the rest of the issues. Not theme, I guess, but it's a thing that keeps getting brought up where
Right.
like some of the girls chant flashback, flashback,
Yeah,
flashback
yeah,
until they have
right.
a flashback on page.
Or they want it, like for instance, when they meet Susan's father, and again, this is jumping forward. They
Yeah,
are just instantly like, "Yes, please tell
give me a
us."
flashback. Yeah. Like, I just
Right.
love that they say that.
Correct.
There's a tiny bit of like fourth wall breaking there that's just
Mhm.
hilarious. And
Right.
I mean, here's Esther just like demanding it of
Yeah.
Susan. And you just
Right.
see flashback written behind her. Like, I just think that's so funny.
Right. But going back to Nadia, I mean, she's obviously giving Daisy these cues. Like there's the panel where she tells her to take her hand, and
Hmm.
it's like, Daisy's just going for this ride, and then it, gets kind of her heart broken at the end. But yeah, also McGraw having a conversation with Ed at the diner about what Susan did with this magazine. Also funny. Oh man.
I hate to
So,
show every panel, but that reminds me because they're
I
having that
mean,
conversation, and then
yeah,
Hi
yeah,
Dave
yeah. Right.
yells, "It's the devil! It's the devil!"
Yeah.
It's just consistently so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was another great. We also meet. As I'm flipping, I forget that we also meet Daisy's grandma.
Right. Yes,
So
Daisy was raised by her grandma. We do eventually find out what happens to her parents later on.
right.
It's fascinating, but
Yeah.
But they all have like very different family dynamics, which is cool
Hmm.
to see. We end up meeting all of their families throughout this, and
Right.
yeah, early on we do meet Daisy's grandma.
Yeah.
It's
Who's
very
pretty awesome.
yeah, very sweet.
Very, yeah, very much loves Daisy and will do anything for her type of grandma. So sorry, I'm gonna do my Jess and have a little bit of my.
You got to pull the Jess.
Hmm.
Chris saying high school Susan and McGraw are so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the flashbacks with them
Yeah.
are
Really
good
good.
too.
Hmm. All
So
right.
let's see. The next issue, we kind of I'm having to flip through it now to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Let's
this
see.
ball.
Hold on, because I gotta get out of this thing. See, this is why technology is not always great.
I get it. They end up all going to this ball at college, right?
Right.
And
Correct.
that's where things just. I'm kind of skipping through it, but like
Hmm.
things take a turn for Susan and McGraw there.
Right.
So,
Right.
they have this past, which we eventually. I don't think we found out what that is yet,
No.
but we see that they end up sleeping together after
Correct.
this event, and
Her escape out of the bedroom was again hilarious.
it's so good. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it now; it's so good. But yeah, like, and then they're having Susan doesn't want to tell her friends, so that's
No.
another complication to everything.
Correct. Right. It's just also before that even happens, we get like, and this reminds me of some of like these, you know, teenage movies where they have, proms and stuff where they go shopping for their wardrobe and stuff. And those scenes were also comedic, like just getting a dress for Susan, who
Yeah,
normally doesn't wear dresses. Esther's pushing her down into it. Like, come on.
yeah. It, I love that about the series too. Like they take the most simple things and
Right.
somehow make it hilarious.
Right.
You
And they
know,
do a good job with bouncing between the girls shopping and then the guys shopping.
right,
And so,
right.
yeah,
It's seeing that the difference of dynamics
correct.
because that's another thing we didn't really touch on yet. But Ed and McGraw have like a really
Hmm.
great friendship too,
Yeah, they're really tight. Right.
and their dynamic together because they are also so different is really
Hmm.
fun to see. So
Right.
this quickly turns into like it's not really just the girls show. I mean,
Right.
it is, but they really bring everybody together, and
Yeah.
seeing the side characters consistently is great too because they're
Right. I know we keep mentioning them as sidekicks, but I feel like they
yeah,
have become like part of the main cast. They're
absolutely. 'Cause
they're as important as the girls are.
yeah, when I see the girls, I'm like, okay, I want to know what the guys are doing. Like,
Right.
I
What are the
want to
guys do?
see the update there.
Right. Yeah, and this is the issue where we have Ed and Daisy kiss,
Right, which
which
is
was
crazy.
right, which was also crazy.
Hmm.
Um, it came out of nowhere, um, and it kind of almost helped Daisy hammer home who she is.
Right, because she's like, hey, if I've never kissed a
Right,
guy, like, how do I really know? And Nadia is also at this dance with another girl, and
correct.
that
Right.
upsets her. So all of that kind of leads to this moment.
Yeah.
And I love that like she kisses him and he's
Right.
like, "Whoa, what?" But doesn't really react to it because he's like, "Oh no, I lost my cufflink," and that's like it. And that's how much it didn't mean anything to both of them, which I thought
Exactly.
was a
And
lovely way to show
do they
it.
even mention it again after?
I don't know that they
I
even
don't think they
react to
do.
each other after that. Yeah, like it's
If
just
they
like,
do,
"Oh,
it's
that's the
super
thing."
brief, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because we know that Ed is all about Esther,
hmm
and now this test, if you will, and of Daisy now finding out that she felt nothing.
hmm
It was kind of like, okay, now we're good. We'll just move
yeah,
forward.
right, which is awesome.
Yeah. So what
So
else?
I mean that the ball happens. It's pretty much the end
Mhm.
of that. We do see McGraw and Susan at the end
Right.
accidentally get on the same train together
Right.
and realize that. I'm kind of like maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should slow it down anymore. But see, I'm skipping some points that I want to make. Let's see. We do meet the comic world vinyl world in the next issue, which I love that as a concept.
Yes.
And it's so
I know
funny.
you do. As soon as I read that, I was like, this is Kristen's store.
Oh my gosh, it's my
Hands
dream
down.
store, right? So it's like these two shops, Comic World and Vinyl World, like right
Right.
next to each other.
Right.
And there's a point where they're like, is there like, are they connected? Or if we both go in a door, what happens? So like they both go in the door and then they look at each other because there's no wall between them. That's
There's
it,
no.
which is great.
It's so good. It is so good.
Yeah, that's my dream store. Comics on
That
one side, records on
that
the
is
other.
your hands down. That's your dream store.
So
Because in
good.
my experience, it when I go to a comic book store, it's usually a game store. So I have a lot of dream stores all over the place in reality, but I don't think I've ever seen that type of mix up of vinyl and comics.
I know like Newberry Comics in Boston
They do
is
that?
a comic record store. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so they're
Interesting.
known for like having a lot of comics and
Oh,
records,
that's
which is
cool.
great. But I'm nowhere near Boston, so
Right. Doesn't
but they
help.
do exist. Not anywhere near me, which is sad.
Gotcha. But yeah, that's a fun that's a fun shop that also um does it come into play later with
It
Esther?
it does with Esther,
It
yeah.
does, right? Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Because I'm looking at the staff now and I don't remember seeing them later on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so this whole issue really is about Susan dealing with something in we're in her hometown, right?
right.
Yeah. Which I gather is like a smaller kind of town. Everybody kind of knows each other.
Yeah.
And she's got like some beef with like some bad people in the town,
And
basically.
this is the first issue that was like, are we getting serious here? Like
Yeah. Yeah, because like that was kind of they're like, where is she? What's going on? And she ends up being like trapped by this woman she made angry who may
right.
kill her. Like it
Right.
got
There was
real.
maybe attempted murder.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure, almost maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very odd. And then have McGraw like passing by a building where she being Susan is being held, and she's like yelling at him like for help.
Yeah, like
It
I'm
was
stuck in here.
so
I'm trapped. And I'm just like, are we? I mean,
yeah,
I know there are more issues, and I've read this, but also I was like, are we gonna? Is this a
yeah,
crime? This is a crime for sure. This is like kidnapping, 100%. Like,
totally is a crime. Yeah, the issue revolves around Susan getting kidnapped, the girls hunting for her because they haven't heard from her, and she just disappears. So they're like uncovering this conflict that Susan had back home, and finds out that she got kidnapped.
yeah, and how that's resolved. It's all good. We don't need to keep going about it, but
No,
that's very well done. Yeah, the whole gang gets involved. You
right.
know, I'm kind of gonna skip through it because I'm like, I don't want to tell everybody every
Yeah,
issue,
no, it's a fun issue. I don't mean like
but it's a
it
good time. Yeah.
it definitely gets serious because it has some serious tones, but it is still funny.
It's still
Like,
great because you're like, is she gonna
yeah,
die? Haha.
right,
Like, yeah. Somehow they're like, oh yeah,
right,
that's fun. I know she's not going to, right? And then you
right.
question it.
That would have been a moment. Oh,
Oh
like,
my
Kristen,
god.
what do you have me reading here?
Yeah, like 5
I'm
issues in.
invested.
Ah,
Right,
killed her. We just threw Susan off the roof. It's fine.
that would have been insanity.
That would have been crazy. Chris says, I love when McGraw and Esther cross paths. Their dynamic is great too. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
McGraw and everyone is interesting, but yeah, I think McGraw and Esther do have like the most polar opposite everythings.
absolutely.
So when they do cross paths, it's
Hmm.
very entertaining. And Hayden says, you guys are getting me ready to finally read this. Please
You
do.
should
You'll
read
have a
it.
blast. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
so
you'll love
much
it.
fun. So much fun.
So
All
let's
right, so
see.
next looks like winter. Are they leaving now for the holidays? No, this is not that yet.
Um, It's
trying to
not that
looking
yet, but I'm
through
like,
it.
what is it now?
Yeah, because I see like Esther's in like a skeleton kind of costume. Um, we also have McGraw and Susan having a little dinner. So this, yeah, what,
This is when
what
Esther's
happened?
having the school crisis. So she's realizing
Oh,
she's about to like
correct,
fail in everything. And Daisy,
correct.
yeah,
Yes,
Daisy's desperately trying to be like, I'll make you a ton of notes. She even does like the Charlie Day on the wall thing with the string,
right,
right?
right.
And Esther's just like, I doesn't want to deal with it. So
Yeah,
she's doing all she can to not deal with it because
right,
she's, in a bad place with school. Susan and McGraw are trying to hide that from them.
right.
And we're just really seeing Esther have a crisis this
Yeah,
whole
she
issue.
has a full blown crisis. To again, the artwork is great in terms of showing her she's taking the exam, and like I'm looking at it right now, and she's like sweating. Her hair is all disheveled. Um, yeah, she's having this. Yeah, there we go.
It's just like
Yeah,
trying her best to deal with
right,
all the feelings in her head. And
right. It's this issue that she comes to a realization, like she was pretty much taking school as a joke, and that she could have definitely been doing better.
right.
Um, and that you'll see more about that later on. But she of course she meets a boy out of this.
Yeah, it gets very distracted by the like the TA in the class
Right,
while she's taking that test.
right.
It's also a huge moment where we see Daisy ends up seeing Susan and McGraw
And
kissing
McGraw, correct.
and tries to pretend like she did not see that.
Right, and runs into Ed.
Yes. Yep.
And I think this might be the time where maybe they hint at it a little bit on the kiss, but
Oh yeah.
again, it's maybe hinted about, but
Yeah, I
they
mean
don't linger
it
on it.
is like kind of one page where he's
Yeah,
like, because about the ball, like he's really
right,
awkward about it. And she
right.
says, only ever kissed one boy, so I'm glad it was you. Now let's never talk about
Never
it
talk
ever
about it again.
again. And
Correct.
they don't, which
Right.
I think is perfect.
And that's when they bump into Daisy and not Daisy, Susan and Esther again. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then Esther is now starting up another not good relationship for her because that is her thing.
right. And she thinks it's going to help her out because he is, I guess, um, what I'm trying to remember the class that it was. Was it
Yeah,
English?
wasn't he was like a TA, right? He wasn't the professor,
Yeah, but I think he knew the topic and was able to help her. Or so she thought, I
right?
think, but that also doesn't doesn't
Religion? She was, like, worried about that class because she took that class
and she
and thought
did
it was
pray.
yeah, yeah. She was like, "This'll help, right?"
Hmm. Yeah, so this was her school crisis issue.
Right, right.
And so then we jump to 8, where they're now seen in public together.
Yes.
And of course, the girls have something to say about that.
And this is basically when Daisy has her crisis. So,
Right.
it's her turn to have a crisis where she's turned into, like, a Friday Night Lights character, which is hilarious.
We also have some Susan Shark Teeth galore
Oh,
on one of these
yeah.
pages.
Find some good Susan shark teeth here. Oh,
Yeah,
here we go. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Every time she gets angry, she's got the shark teeth, and
yeah.
it's fantastic.
But that whole page is funny because where she like
Oh yeah,
falls and then slides down to the bottom.
yeah. She like refuses to wear shoes that make sense in the winter, and
Right.
she's like, "It's fine. It'll be fine. It's not fine." There's just so much physical humor, and
Absolutely,
that's
yeah.
what gets me every time.
And it's funny because there'll be some panels where it's just the characters, nothing in the background. But then there's panels where there's a lot of stuff and a lot of background stuff that you laugh at. So this art is amazing, amazing
Absolutely.
good.
Oh,
Uh,
Freddie saying, "Hey, great show. Alas, I'm done lurking and needing to drive. Have fun and thanks for lighting up the night with your awesome for a bit." That's very nice, Freddie.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Freddie. Thank you, thank you. Um, yeah. So we have here's the other deal about the art. normally, and I'm going to be talking about the superhero comics in general. You really don't see wardrobe changes,
Right? That's
right?
very
You don't.
true. Yeah, yeah. Well, especially with like, costumes
And,
and stuff. Yeah.
right, and obviously it makes sense that you're not going to see that. But in this, they go out of their way of giving the characters new wardrobes and new outfits all the time. And
Hmm.
still, I'm looking at this page right now where they have Daisy with her hair down in a different hairstyle, and you still know it's Daisy, and it's so good. It is so
Yeah.
good.
I love that too. Yeah, like here's a good example of
Yeah,
it.
you
But it's
know
like,
it's her.
yeah, her face. I don't know if that's gonna focus, but
Yeah.
it's so well done.
And the way she's just holding that wine glass.
Yeah. Well, even like more Susan teeth. I feel like they just express Susan's
Yeah,
gestures so much. I don't know how
yeah,
words
when she eats the
but like
cupcake.
yeah, it's so good.
Right. Yeah, it's what else
Yeah,
we have here?
this issue is basically everyone's going through a lot in this issue, you know?
Right.
So we talk about how it's consistently funny, but
Hmm.
there are serious moments, and that's another one. It is very slice of life. You deal with their entire lives. The funny is consistent, but we do get a
Right.
little serious with certain things.
Yeah. And I mean, that's pretty much this trade, right?
Yep.
Because there is, hold on.
Yeah, Chris's Daisy is a
There
therapist.
is.
Yes. That was so great too.
Yeah, so this brings us what to issue, it's chapter 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the whole this is where I think the campaign thing starts happening. Right? I think it's for is it for I forget the title. This
Yeah,
is where
Ed's getting involved with the paper.
right.
And is that the campaign? The start of the campaign too?
He's getting involved with the paper, but we meet that shady individual that's trying
Mm,
to rig this election.
right. It's just some person
Right.
in a hoodie and a
Right.
mask on a bench, which we will consistently see this person show up later on and be
Right.
shady with
Right.
like other characters.
And this is where we also start seeing how Susan could be super determined once she has her claws into something, or she wants to do something, she's super focused on it,
Hmm.
and it actually leads to some problems with relationships and stuff. So see,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to spoil
I
things.
know. Well, and then I'm like, this is a big moment for Ed, right?
Correct. Right, which is another like moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a big moment for Ed, um where we also see the team kind of gather around him and help him through it.
Right.
um Esther also helping him through it. So yeah, I don't know how
Yeah.
much you want to say, because this is a pretty fun episode of a pretty fun
It's
issue.
it's a great issue. I think
Yeah, Chris, poor Ed. Yeah,
yep,
poor Ed is right.
poor Ed.
Oh boy.
I love that they don't shy away from certain things though, right? Because
Right.
it's a personal thing with Ed. That's why we're dancing around it, right? You
Right.
can read it if you're interested for yourself. But
Mhm.
um, there are certain. I just feel like there are no lines with these characters. As much as like it's cartoony, it's over the top, and we're laughing a lot.
Right.
That's still a really serious like thing that Ed deals with, and
Mhm.
then everyone ends up finding out about, but helping him through.
Right.
And
Even I
that's another
mean,
nice.
yeah. Even Esther, I mean, I think once Esther finds out and she talks to him about it, she might have thrown a jab a little bit, but
Mhm.
that's Esther. And then like she helps him through it.
Yeah.
So I just think it's pretty much like they're more than friends, they're like a family. So they're helping each other through it in their own different way,
Right.
you know. So yeah, but still poor Ed. I'm looking at him crying right now.
Aw,
It's too much.
poor Ed.
Yeah. But yeah, this is where like we said, it starts Susan on this it's a couple of issues that she goes through this journey with this whole campaign potential rigging thing.
Yeah, and Susan's very determined, as we know. So
Yeah.
she really
Yeah.
puts her whole self into this campaign, trying to,
Right.
get someone else elected. Uh,
Yep.
and we also, the next issue, we meet one of Esther's old friends. What's her name again?
Oh, big
Something.
what is it? Who's really cool?
Big,
What is her name? What's her name?
Big Lindsay.
Big Lindsay. Yes.
Big Lindsay, which Esther's very like worried about Big Lindsay being in town because what she remembers from Big Lindsay is when they were like younger. Big Lindsay was crazy, right? Like,
Right. She's the party animal.
yeah. So like Esther's flashback is like her like, dumping a lot of alcohol in her mouth, and she's very
Right.
concerned or worried about it because she's like, that's not me anymore, and I'm scared.
Right. But I think she's a very cool character, and
Oh yeah.
we also, even though she's in it for a very little time, we get like an emotional thing with her at the end,
It's
um,
lovely. Yeah.
which is right, which is cool. She just wants to be the life of the party a little bit, and then once she sees that these girls are not made that way or anymore, or don't want to be that way anymore, and then she kind of hangs out with Ed. Was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is not really what I want to do either. Let's go someplace else,
Yeah.
which is fun. Um, does she end up knowing? I think she does, right? She ends up finding out about Ed's
Yeah, I think
situation.
so.
I think so, right?
Yeah. And
Yes.
then does her own way, helps him out, right?
Oh, that's yeah. I'm
Yeah.
flipping through it and I'm seeing McGraw doing like a mosh pit thing.
Oh yeah. I was about to show that. Like, I just love everybody's going out partying with Big Lindsay, and like
His
McGraw
wild
like
eyes.
a caveman, just dancing like a maniac. You see Ed over there, like just not
Right.
dealing with it well, and they're all just like having their own moments.
Yeah. And that's what I mean with Daisy being, the motherly figure. She figures out a way to get them all out of that situation.
Absolutely.
So good.
Yeah, and then the next issue, we just kind of immediately see Susan like with these bags under her eyes,
Yeah.
smoking, like doing campaign stuff still, and it's like, oh, this isn't a good situation. Like she's really going down a bad hole. She's
Yeah.
ignoring McGraw, and you could tell he's really hurt by it. And the
Right.
whole time, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was yelling at her. I was like, "Come on, Susan,
Yeah.
I brought you
And-
food. What are you
right.
doing?" Like,
I mean, is this is not the issue where she's having like the night dreams or whatever? She's just wandering the streets. I don't think that's it, right?
I don't
Like
think it
jumping
was.
ahead.
Oh
This
no,
is just
we're at that point. Yeah,
it is okay.
it's toward the middle where she
Yeah.
ends up like she's staying awake so long, and she's like not sleeping. She's not taking care of herself. That
Yeah.
she ends up stumbling upon, what do they call it? The night world.
The
the-
night, the night
that-
world.
is that it?
Night
Night-
be with right. People pass by her. Night be with you.
Which turns out to be like a whole like kind of realm you get in when you're like sleep deprived,
Yeah.
haven't slept. Which is
Correct.
just hilarious because it's like, how do you get to this point in storytelling where it makes sense, right?
Right.
Because I'm reading
And
this,
with-
yeah, I get it. It makes sense.
But it's also funny that Esther's like, I can tap into this world.
So she's like, let me get some caffeine. Let me not sleep, because she's like,
Right.
Susan's lost, and I think she's lost in like the night world, and we gotta find her. And this is what it looks like. It's all like warped reality, and
Yeah, everything's very much wavy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
There's a
perfect.
lot of like quick shops, like like 7-Eleven type of deals where it's
Places that are open. Mm-hmm.
correct. Yeah, some people are like, "Hey, I've seen you around here the last couple of nights," and she's super terrified. They draw her, to look super terrified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very funny. Yeah, and then McGraw also confronts her, I guess, after one of the nights. Yeah, it's just sad, and just there's a panel where they're having an argument. She's walking away from him, and he's just leaning against a thing of stairs and just has his hands in his face. I don't know, but let me see if you can see it right there. That panel. But I feel bad for the guy. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's because this issue hurt. I feel like, you know,
yeah,
especially because you see how deep into like not taking care of herself that Susan is
right,
gone,
right,
and it's really affecting everyone around her, including, of course, her closest relationship with McGraw. And
exactly,
you know, you just know it's going to blow up on her, and you're
right.
just waiting for it, and then it happens at the end, and it's such a bummer.
Yeah, because
Such a
he writes her a letter. Am I right? And then she's like, you're doing this in a letter? Is that what that was? I'm trying to
bummer.
remember.
It's well, it's her birthday, and he
Her
there's a
birthday,
gift
right?
outside of her door, and
Correct.
it says on this special day, thinking of you in every way. We need to talk, McGraw. And it's she's like, what? What do you like? You know? And then they
Yeah,
have a fight, and he's just like, I can't do this anymore, and it's
yeah.
upsetting.
Like even this. Here's this this panel right here where it's like the artist just drew it with such emotion. Like you could tell like she's yelling at him, and he's just like, I don't need to take this, and it's just drawn. Oh my god, yeah, it's just I can't keep gushing about
I
the art.
feel the same. Yeah,
It's just
it's
so
so
good. Yeah, but yeah,
so
this is where the relationship kind of falls apart a little bit, and you have there's this the one panel where the girls are coming together and they're hugging Susan because she's actually going through it a little bit also because she cares about him.
well, and I feel like, you know, this is issue. Let's see, the next issue is issue 12.
12.
And at this point, I feel like we've gotten so much story, so much of each character, as well as I feel like everyone's kind of had their own crisis at this point, right?
Absolutely,
And
yes.
we're dealing with Susan's now. And it is so interesting to see the sort of things that are breaking each one of them.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what ends up happening to like they help each other get through
Hmm.
all of that, right?
Right.
And rebuilding what
Hmm.
they had.
Yep.
And you know, the next issue is really we're deep back into that campaign with Susan because you know, at this
Right.
point she's not gonna let it go. Why would
No.
she? Right? She's already
No.
lost everything.
She's
She's
there. Right.
all she has, you know.
Right.
And they ended up going camping together,
Oh my god. Yeah.
which is hilarious because Susan's like, I got this tent together. I don't need any of this junk. It just like throws away half the
All
stuff.
the important stuff into the
Yeah.
river.
And then the tent just like falls down immediately. And it's funny seeing them in that sort of environment because it's like,
Right.
oh, you guys, of course, aren't going to be good at this. Like, this isn't your
No.
thing.
Not at all. And she starts seeing like some kind of ghost of McGraw also.
Which is like really just kind of heartbreaking, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's very well done too. But
Yep. And yeah, he's dealing with because yeah, right. The way McGraw was dealing with it is he was just doing a bunch of carpentry and just sawing
sawing
wood. He hurt his shoulder doing it.
absolutely.
But yeah, this was another fun episode. Another, I keep saying episodes.
Well,
Like,
and that's another good point. Let's talk about that. Why has
uh,
this not
been a show. Yeah,
been made into some great cartoon, right?
she could. It could definitely be one. Yeah,
So
a
good.
100%.
Would
A
love
100%.
maybe one day.
Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, we're putting this in people's faces so they could go out and buy the book, and then it becomes a hit.
Absolutely.
So that finishes that second trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we jump into trade 3. Kristen, did you leave me? Oh, there you go.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay.
You're back.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
My
Hey,
internet's like
internet. We never know
um,
what we're gonna get with the internet.
truly not. Yeah, so the next issue is really Esther dealing with she says she doesn't want to go back to university. She's like, I'm done.
Yeah,
You
correct.
know, her parents are like, well, we're not going to pay for you to be here. Like, we've paid
No,
for all of your school and everything, and you're not going to do it. And so we see Esther dealing with trying to get a job, keeping a job.
right. And we, I mean, we also find out more about we didn't. I had no idea that her parents were the ones that are like paying for everything and doing all this, and it it's like a little pebble into her backstory that we
Mm.
find out a little bit later. Expand more, which we kind of hint about it in the beginning, but because she's a capable person, she just wasn't willing herself to be better in school, but yeah, and so she decides because of that, and she's not seeing that she's not, she's obviously not getting the grade she wants, and so she's like, this is not for me. And then her parents are like, well, then you're cut off.
Yeah.
So
So she's like,
yeah,
I gotta get a crappy
yeah,
job. I gotta, one of my favorite moments, though. So we do like
mhm,
meet her parents, and of course, her friends are very concerned about her. So they decide they're gonna like do an intervention, right? So
right,
they show up at the house, and her mom answers, and she's like, "Can I help you?" And Daisy's like, "We're Esther's friends. We're here to convince her to go back to university." And so her mom immediately was like, "You sweet, beautiful angels," and like hugs them in a
yeah,
way that's just so hilarious. Like their eyes are bulging,
bulging out.
hearts everywhere, and I'm just like, back to the art because it's just so perfect.
Yeah, when Esther comes home and then sees Daisy like vacuuming, it's like, what are you doing?
Why are you cleaning my house? What's happening right now? Oh, we do see like Big Lindsay come back,
Right.
and she talks to Esther, and they have a nice little moment, and
Mhm.
she turns out to be like, I kind of just wanted her to keep coming back. Like she was
Yeah,
a
they
character I really ended up liking a lot.
right, because they introduced her and they made it seem like she's just this one dimensional character where she's just like the party animal.
Hmm.
She's gonna come here, she's gonna take all these guys out, and be make them drink and be silly. But no, she has some things going on in her own life that's interesting. So yeah, I mean I haven't read past this point, so don't spoil it for me.
I won't. I won't.
But yes, I would like more. I would like more of her as well. But yeah, you see oh, that's right. You also see Esther with her ex-boyfriend
Hmm.
and one of her good friends back from home are together. And she
Right.
had no idea.
And she is
What was
dealing with that. Um,
correct.
which the way that was resolved, I thought was very.
Mhm. You broke up. Where are you? You're back.
Okay. Since the whole time I'm like, it doesn't, I'm here for me. I don't know.
Yeah, you said it
What a
was
bummer.
the ending was very, and then you stopped.
Okay, I love how they did the ending of that,
Yeah,
the resolution with her ex and
right.
her friend. Um, I'm like, do I ruin it at this point? We're ruining
Yeah,
it. But,
do it. Do
but
it.
they just have a really good moment. She has a nice little talk with him, and he's like, I really like her, and they just have this really nice shared moment where, and then she's able to like talk to her friend like normal, and I just thought it was nicely done. You just don't see a
No,
resolution like that a lot. Usually
right.
it's like, forget you, goodbye. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, that was kind of nice.
Right. Yep. No, that was well done also. Um yeah, and so then they is this the at the point of this at the end of this issue she decides she's going back. Yes.
Yes.
She's
And
going back.
one of my favorite things in the next issue that is a
Yeah.
consistent thing that keeps coming back is Susan's laptop. Susan's laptop. Oh my, see if I can get it on here. It's filthy garbage. I don't know if you can see it here, but like there's just like, I mean, and then they make jokes about it consistently, like it's a biohazard, and
Right. Who
like
wants to touch that thing?
Casey's like, please let me clean it.
Right.
Like,
And the reason why I laugh so hard is because I know coworkers that are like that. I'm like, I don't want to
yeah,
go near your
they'll
laptop.
like open sneeze right on, and I'm like,
Ugh.
or oh my gosh, my biggest pet peeve, which I hollered at somebody at work the other day for doing this. She it's multiple people in life, but like she was like touching the
Touch the
screen.
screen. I hate that. I
Show me
hate
when
that
she's like
so much.
actually touching it, and I'm like, your finger oils should not be touching this technology. And she was like, I don't have finger oils. I was like, yeah. Yes, you do. We all do. It's part of
Yeah.
having fingers and being a
You're
human.
right.
And
You
it's
don't see it now, but I'm gonna turn this
yes,
to make sure the light hits it the right way, and I'm gonna
yeah.
see it.
It's like, I don't
Yeah.
wanna see your phone if you're doing that kinda like, what? Like,
No,
oh
it's
my
the
gosh,
worst.
it's so bad,
Yeah.
it's so bad.
No, I don't like it.
But
I don't like it.
I love that because it's like Susan, the med student,
Right.
it just it's like such a funny
Filthy.
personality problem that she
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's drawn that way too, with like all this crud around it.
Like grime, like it looks like
Yeah, yeah,
there's boogers on it. I
yeah.
mean, it's like it's gnarly.
Yep. That's so gross.
I love it. It's so funny.
But yeah, that is a constant thing that comes back from time to time. But this is when they go back. They start the next. This what is it? The second half of the semester or the second half of the year?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, because she said Esther said she wasn't going to go back. They got her to come back, and so now I believe they went to go get an apartment.
Yeah, they're
Right,
looking
they're
around.
looking around
Another funny thing that happens is they look at this house and there's this guy who straight up looks like
like Mario,
Super
right?
Mario, yeah. Which
And he's
they
got
even
his hanging on the
direct
wall.
mention. They're like, he looked just like. It's just such a weird, funny
Yeah,
one-off thing. I love that.
and so Ed also has this app that is able to show, or it's like a secret app. They tell him not to give it out, and of
Mhm.
course, Ed being Ed, and he's trying to find love.
Yeah.
Just gave it to a bunch of different women, and they all shared it, and so it ended up being a tough time for them to find an apartment, but they end up finding one, and which is cool because they move close to where the guys are.
Mhm. Because that's
So
how stories have to keep happening. Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
of course,
It's a great way to bring it all together, though.
yeah. But
So,
yeah, is this and do the guy is this mentioned where the guys end up moving with Dean? Yeah, here's Dean.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Dean is a
Dean is a character.
character in himself. Yes.
He's a character. But there's two things throughout these 7 books that hit home. One was and we'll talk about it when we get there. I'm jumping ahead. I don't mean to jump ahead.
You
But
can. I mean,
it's the moment where I think it's Esther and Ed are walking because they're looking for Dean. They need to talk to him about something, and Dean tells them, "Oh, I'll be at the gentleman's club," right? And so as I'm reading that, I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then they go into it. If anybody knows gaming or models and stuff, they go into a games workshop, which is essentially a gentleman's club, where it's just nothing but a bunch of guys playing miniature wargaming and painting models. And I did that. So we have 2 stores in New. We used to have 3 stores. No, now we have one where we would go, and it would be just the way he drew it, where there's people sitting at a table just painting models. And I love the fact that they wanted to go talk to him, and he was just like, "Hold on 1 second, I need to finish dry brushing this thing."
and you were like, I can relate. I get it.
And I could relate, and that was one of the moments. I was like, Games Workshop is in this book.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so funny, so funny. But
I
that's
have I have a few moments like that. I'll
uh,
try to remember when I get to them, but
okay.
and we don't have to linger on some of these. We can kind of
No, that's cool.
flip through more. But so the next issue, Esther is going to be in a movie, and she's an
Mhm.
actress. And
Oh my god, yeah, this is funny.
to the point where Susan's like, "Well, if you can do this, I'm gonna like submit my movie for this like prize from like some little film
Right.
festival sort of thing." And Esther's just like, of course, just wanting to get with the director, and that's her whole
Of
point
course,
doing it.
of course.
But I love when they show all the movies at the end. Like you see little
Right.
panels from it all, and you
Yeah.
realize that the movie Susan put together is just mocking the other movie
Yeah.
relentlessly, which is such a Susan thing.
It's so well done. It's,
And she ends
and
up
she
winning.
ends up winning.
Yeah, it's perfect. I'm like, of course she does. It makes me like moments like that make me be like, oh my gosh, if this were animated and we could see like
Oh my god, yeah.
see more of this movie, like that they made. Oh, I would love
It,
that.
it would be A plus.
It
Yeah,
would be so good.
it would be fantastic.
So I love that movie issue. That was
Yeah,
a really great one.
that was a good one. Then we go into, oh, this is where we meet Ingrid
Yes.
for the first time.
Yeah, Ingrid is a German exchange student
Correct.
who, Daisy ends up giving a tour to some new students, and she's one.
Hmm.
She's quite obnoxious.
Right. Super obnoxious, but
Quite, yes. And immediately it's just like kind of all about Daisy.
right.
So you know something's going on here.
And doesn't hide it.
Right.
She's all about it. And
Makes it
Daisy's just
very
like,
clear.
yeah, Daisy's like, I don't know.
Which
So
the
funny.
same issue where, she's dealing with these students, we're seeing kind of go back and forth between Susan having all these dates with different guys
Right.
she's met. She's set up a
Correct.
lot of dates because she's trying to get over McGraw, and they're
Yep.
all bad. They're all so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. She went on like what, three or four, right? There was the guy with the beard.
Uh, yeah, I think she had like three set up at the same day. It was one of those.
Yeah. Oh, the guy that was cutting his pea, cutting the coat, the uh the seed coats off of the peas. She was like, "Are you really doing that?"
And he's like, I don't like skins.
Yeah.
Uh, I felt for Susan the whole time because I'm like, she every date it was like it ended up starting pretty great, and
Right,
then
right.
it went super downhill in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the panel where she's with the beard guy and she's just running out of there. Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and of
Yeah. So
course, at the end of that issue, we meet what's her name? Nadia? No, is that her name?
who the yes, it's McGraw's new girlfriend. I don't think
Yes.
I forget her name.
I'm like that. That wasn't it. That was a different character.
Yeah, I forget her name.
We'll find it.
We'll find it. But she yeah, she becomes this little thorn in Susan's side for a little
Which
bit.
doesn't help that like she's pretty lovely, right? Like there's nothing like terrible about her. It's
No,
just not.
she's a siren.
Yeah, like she's got a lot of, she could play all the guitars and like
Right.
everything.
Yep. Right.
Esther sniffs out Ingrid at the jump. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so this issue is, what are they doing here? We get some more Dean. Oh,
Um,
they Daisy goes on this expedition, or this little, where I don't know, it's like a school thing where she's constantly confronted by this teacher that's constantly telling her she's doing things wrong.
oh my gosh, I love that whole moment too.
Yeah.
She ends up telling off the teacher, and it's such a good moment.
Right, right, right.
And going back and forth between her on that
Mhm.
trip and Ed and Esther, who are accidentally committing a crime
Right.
because they really
Right.
need money. And Dean has this shady thing going on that they're like, yeah, we'll do this. Not realizing that they're helping commit a crime.
Right. It was pretty, and then, when Esther was like, "Are you sure this?" Because this is almost too good to be true. I feel like this is definitely illegal.
She nailed it.
It's real money. I just collected it.
And their dynamic together when it's
Amelia,
great
her name.
because what's that?
Amelia is her name.
Amelia. I
Mhm.
should have just asked Chris the whole time.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris.
Well,
It's
I should
so
have known that
funny.
because my middle name is Emilio.
Well,
Should have
there you
known
go.
that. I failed.
What's great is like I don't know about you, but I
Mhm.
just recently reread this. Like it wasn't that
Mhm.
long ago, and I totally forgot her name.
Listen, we,
Chris is killing it. Thanks, Chris.
we had to read 8 trades
Yeah, it was a lot.
and absorb it all.
It was a lot. But one of my favorite moments when Daisy confronts the guy. I just love how she just
Yeah.
starts floating
Right.
and has fire surrounding her, like she's turning to the phoenix here, right? And tells them off. And it's I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
talking about the art and just how perfect it is for the
Yeah.
moment, right? Because obviously she's not actually turning,
Right.
but it's great.
Jackie, you should be reading this.
Oh,
If you are in if you have a Amazon account, or if you're a member of, I forget, if you pay the subscription for Comixology, all of the books are free.
yep,
Well, they're not free because you're paying a subscription, but
right. As well as if you have access to Hoopla, they're all on there as well.
right.
So
This Hoopla, I can't. We don't have it in New York, or at least in the city, New York City, we don't have it, which
I
is
think
driving me nuts.
I'm gonna ask a friend of mine
You do
who has gotten around that.
that. You need
She's
to
in
let
the New
me
York
know.
area. I will let you know how that worked
All
out.
right.
Yeah, because I know it's possible somewhere. I'm not positive where. I'll let you know.
Gabby and I are just like, oh, why don't we have Hoopla? Like,
Yeah, my friend may be watching, so I'll
okay.
hit you up later. You know what I'm
Hey,
talking about.
friend,
I won't put the name out there, but
hit up Kristen. I
she
need
may be
this.
watching later. Yeah, let me know.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a great issue. I love that whole dynamic. More of Esther. You know, I don't know how you feel about Esther and Ed together romantically, but I love their friendship dynamic.
Right. Because we know that he's definitely into her, but I
Yes,
don't think I don't, me personally, I don't want to see it
I
because
don't
I
either.
prefer them as friends.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
with
it's
you.
just their dynamic is really cool that way.
There's like they're really great together. Their personalities
Right.
are so different, but like
Mhm.
they're great friends. Like
Yeah.
even when she really wants him to find love, and she's like rooting for him, and
Yeah,
it's
she helped him
very
out.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm looking at now when Amelia's singing and Susan's in. Oh, that's a
Mary
possibility.
says moved to New
Just
Jersey.
for hoopla. Let's do that. But she's sitting like incognito, just watching Amelia play the guitar. It's like typical Susan, antics. I'm gonna find out who this woman is.
Because
Yeah,
she's so
fun.
good at undercover work. She really is.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, they're
Chris says, sorry, I heard a presentation about how this archaeology story is one of the most realistic in fiction. Oh, wow.
interesting.
Where's that presentation at? I'd like to watch that.
Mhm.
Very interesting.
Hmm.
Cool.
But that ends this issue. I just jumped into the next issue where I see some more crazy Susan teeth.
The constant goodness of the Susan teeth.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
is this? Oh,
they're dealing with the aftermath, basically, of committing the crime.
right. And here's the Games Workshop. This is where
Oh,
they're
okay.
hunting him down, and they're walking down the street. And yep, sure enough, he's sitting at a table painting models.
That's awesome.
And it just hit home. I was like, what? I took it immediately to my daughter, my wife. I was like, look at this. You're not going to believe what in this book. They had a ball with it. They were cracking up.
There it is. I was like, where'd it go?
There it
Yeah,
is. Yep.
there he is, just painting right
Games Workshop. That is the gentleman's club that he's attending. Yeah, they want to lawyer up because they're convinced that they're in trouble.
there. Hmm.
Um,
Ed
yeah,
kind of falls
mhm,
for someone in this as well.
correct. Yep. They go into this lawyer's office that kind of reminds me of if you guys watch Breaking Bad. It reminds me of Better Call Saul. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I mean, I know of it. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it, but
but it's
I
very
get
much,
the vibes. Yeah,
with all the shady characters sitting all around.
yeah. That's another great issue. They're all
Yeah.
great, but it's another great issue. But this is one I wanted to bring up earlier. The next issue, chapter or issue 19,
Mhm.
they go to a music festival. So music festival
Oh my god!
running
Yes.
for it. This is one of my all-time favorites. I feel like it's so good. Daisy just wears this shirt that says "Music is nice," which is so great because she's just like, "Are any of these people in ya? I just don't care." But she's trying. And of course, Esther just wants to see this terrible goth band, right?
Right.
Which I'm trying to remember what name that band was.
I forgot,
You
but
can
this is
pull it
also
up.
a callback to the episode, or I'm saying it again. Why I keep saying episode? The issue where Susan tries to build a tent and
Right.
fails. So now she just straight up sleeping bag on.
Shit on the ground. Yeah, which is hilarious. Love that throwback too. Uh,
Yeah.
Poison Nebula is the band, right?
It's a
And of course,
Nebula.
Esther just wants to see them because she's in love with the lead singer, as
Yep.
you are. But one of my favorite parts about this is she ends up going back to the bus. And later on, she's telling her friends about this. And Daisy's freaking out, like, Esther, don't go into buses with strange men. Like,
Right.
why would you do this? And Esther's like, yeah, the things that went on. Like, oh, so,
You have no idea.
it's like, oh no, what did you do? And and then she's like, calligraphy, Daisy. Balls to the wall
Yeah.
calligraphy. Part of the lifestyle. And my favorite thing though is like when I first read this,
Mm,
I wasn't into fountain pens. But now
now
my
you are.
nerd,
Really?
yes. So every joke and reference in this, it kind of reminds me of what Chris said about the archaeological thing. I'm like, maybe John Allison just knows about this weird stuff because every joke was hilarious and it
Really?
hit me in ways I didn't understand before. But I was like, oh no, he's
I
talking about
get it.
lubricated ink and I get it. And he's talking about like his nib grinds and I get it. Like,
Oh man.
and it cracked me up on a whole other level, which I just love because it's kind of like you and relating to,
Yeah. Just,
painting. And it's just like,
yeah.
yeah, I get
I
it.
get it. No, I get
Hilarious.
it. But this issue also had a scary moment for me. It was like it kind of took me back to that episode where there was potential murder. I was like, are we gonna get a little serious tone here? Is when the cowboy kind of roofied Susan.
Oh my gosh,
And I was
yeah.
like, wait a minute, like what's gonna happen with this
Yeah,
guy?
that
And
was
he's kind
scary.
yeah, and it was like he was an older guy. I was like, who is this animal? Like, luckily, obviously, it didn't go down a darker path. It could have, but it did not. But then the hilarity with Susan in the porta potty, I would have just cut my leg off. Cut my leg right off.
Yeah, she puts her whole leg in that thing, and oh my even just, like, in its cartoony art, but it was still so disgusting, you, like, felt it, you're like, "Oh, no. I hate what's happening."
It was gross, to say the
Oh
least.
my gosh,
Yeah, they pull her out of that thing, and it
and there
again, it leads with the artwork with the green smoke trailing.
yeah, yeah,
How that it just
perfectly
smells.
done,
Yeah,
perfectly done, you could smell it come off the pages, yeah.
right. Just so good. She's all wild eyed because she was just roofied.
Yep, and they're just having to, like, get her through it, and then,
Yeah.
the mud storm
Of
happens.
course it rains, right?
Yeah, and just I don't the whole issue's gold. I love
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
issue.
that's a great
Right.
issue. Great issue. And then we go into chapter 20, which was another fun issue where it kind of reminded me of not to the T, but this old movie called Money Pit, where they just
Mm,
with Tom Hanks, they move into a house and everything falls apart. That's what kind of happens here, where
yeah.
these kids or these guys were actually living where Susan and Co lived, but I guess it was off season, and they trashed the apartment, furniture and everything, and they just used glue and tape to put
Mhm.
everything back.
They're like, "We just have to, like, get our safety like, our security deposit back. That's it.
Correct.
Like, we
That's
just
it.
need it."
Right.
The moment they, like, sit down on a chair, like, it comes apart,
Yeah.
and they're like, "We gotta go there. We gotta go there," and they end up in IKEA.
IKEA. So good.
So funny the whole time. Just I love how they're like, I forget what the line was, but Esther, I think it was Esther, who's just like, we need to like get away from the stuff that's way too expensive and the
Right.
stuff that's so cheap you kind of question why it's not cheap. Like somewhere
Yeah.
in the middle there, we need to find that stuff.
Right.
Which, if you've been to IKEA,
Oh, I
You
know
know
it.
that it's literally true. Like
I know it.
it's
But even to where they drew the hand cart with all the boxes that
yes. I thought that the whole time. I'm like, this is so. I've been yes, this is exactly what it's like. And then
right.
even Esther picking up all the puppets, like I want them all. They're so cute. And I'm like, I've literally done that to things. I'm like, it's so cute. I need it all, but I
All they
don't.
needed was the Swedish meatballs that you could
Yeah,
buy there.
yeah,
That's all they needed.
exactly.
Yeah, the one panel where the box falls on Susan. She's
She's
just
like,
underneath it.
because then they got to figure out like we don't have a
How
vehicle.
to
How are
get
we?
home. Right.
It's like, oh gosh, it's already hard with a vehicle when you go to IKEA
Yeah.
with any sort
Oh,
of
forget about
shelves or anything. Oh my gosh.
it. Oh. The little hand, right? They then there's a panel where they lay out all the tools. They have the little hammer.
Little, they're like, we need real tools. How do we? Which of course they know McGraw. And
They
she's
know
like,
McGraw.
don't do it, don't do it.
Yep.
So
Classic. Yeah. It was just funny. They bring like real life elements, like in IKEA,
yeah,
like because we've all been there. We've all
and
had
we
these
all.
silly moments.
It's just so relatable.
Yep.
I get it.
We also then start seeing the neighbor next door a little bit.
Hmm.
Like, ends up just being this creepy guy just looking at
Yeah,
them through the window.
it's well,
More on him later.
and just when you think everything's fun and games, and we went to IKEA, the next issue, they walk in their house and they've been robbed. I mean,
Yeah.
like their TV is gone, everything's thrown about. I think one of my favorite bits of it, because it's like this is a really serious thing and it's a scary thing.
No, it's scary.
It's really
It's
scary.
happened to me before in the past, like
Ugh,
ages ago when I was maybe like 7.
mm.
So I knew the feeling of like I don't want to return to this apartment.
Well,
You know,
I mean, someone's been in there. Someone still could be in there.
right,
That was the fear that they had.
right, yeah, yeah. So I knew
So
it.
really creepy. But among all the creepy, my favorite bits was Esther went into Susan's room and she said, "Oh wow, your room is even worse than mine and Daisy's." It's just like, oh no, it was already like this. I'm not a good person. Just so funny because it's really bad. Like because there's
Yeah,
thrown about. It's like, how do you live this way?
but
And
this one panel, as I'm reading it, because up to this point, you see, obviously Daisy goes through some stuff. She has her ups and downs, but this panel alone, where you see her crying,
there,
no bueno for me.
that's
Did not like that
heartbreaking.
at all.
You know something like serious is happening,
Right.
right?
And
And
she ends up losing all of her parents' jewelry and stuff, her important
the only
stuff.
thing she had left from her like mom and dad, and you're like,
Right.
no, not
Yeah.
Days. No,
I didn't
don't.
like that at all.
So the
So,
the rest of the issue, we're dealing with that aftermath and like how they can help her, and they want to find this stuff, and they're just like trying their best. And
right.
Esther's like, you know what, we're gonna go into the seedy underbelly of this like whole. We're gonna go to the like that night places, right? We're doing this.
Right.
And the person like, no, but then Daisy's like, yeah, let's do it, let's do it.
Yeah. Of
And
course she is.
one of my favorite bits of this as well, because they're like,
Mhm.
okay, we gotta put disguises on. Like, we can't go
Right.
into the scene looking like we look because we're not gonna fit in.
Yeah.
So, like, Daisy ends up, having her afro, right? Which is great. And like her hair is so big. And she writes Enya on one of her
Amazing.
fists. And she's
Right
so
on her
sweet.
fist, she writes.
Yeah. She writes Enya, and Sue's like, no, 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 no. And then she brings up her other fist and says, beat Enya. And Sue's like, okay, this will work.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
It's so good. But yeah, there's yeah, but that's one of the things, right? A testament to the art. Like he totally changed his style, but
Mm-hmm.
looks like Daisy 100%.
Yep. We still know that's her for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, put tracksuits on and vests. Hilarious. But and then at the end we get Ingrid comes back and that's how the issue ends.
Yeah.
She's knocking on the door. They get all scared. All right,
Like,
so then
Ingrid's back.
Ingrid's back. Correct.
And then Daisy's just dealing with that and the emotions, and not
Yep.
knowing how to feel about it.
Hmm.
There's a great moment with Daisy and McGraw
Hmm.
where Daisy kind of like opens up to him about how she's feeling and
Right.
her struggles with how she's feeling and not knowing
Yep.
how to feel really, and they're playing darts the whole time. It's just a cute little dynamic.
Right. That's the other thing throughout the all the books, right? It seems like there's they pair up well. All the characters pair up well, and they have their own dynamic, like you said, like Daisy and McGraw. But we also had Ed and Esther. We had Ed and Daisy. We have like any combination, they have their own dynamic, which is really cool. They haven't these guys have in common. They like to play pool. They like to shoot darts, things
Mhm.
like that. And so during those moments, they kind of talk things out, which is really cool. Um, yeah, we have more of Ingrid and Daisy not knowing what to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
What else? We have, yeah, she
Um,
still wants to go out. She still wants to party. She's taking Daisy on like this. They're basically party hopping a little bit,
yeah, and Esther's back at her job. She's
right?
back at that job she hates, but she
The
needs money.
is it the bakery?
Yeah, I think it's like Baker
Yeah,
Max or something like
Baker Mac.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she has to clean the stove, right?
Oh, and you know
Correct.
that stove is nasty.
Yeah, and then she's like, "No, you got to do another one after you clean this one."
Oh
She
no,
completely cleaned it. I was like, "No, you got to do another one."
so good.
Yeah, but another good one. Yeah, there's not obviously there's issues that I like better than others, but there's not one miss. And this
No,
is yeah,
I felt the same. Like I'm glancing through the next issue, and it's like it's. I don't even know what to say about it at this point because I'm just
right.
like they're all great. There's a great issue where we get Susan's dad kind of accidentally moves in with them.
Which is a great issue too, right? He moves in and they end up that's where we were discussing earlier where they're like, flashback, we want to know more about
Yeah,
Susan, please. But ends up being this incredible house guest, constantly making them food and doing things around the house for them, taking them where they want to go because he has a car, things like that. And they don't want to get rid of him, but ultimately he has to go.
right, right.
So, but in that last issue, the issue before this one is where Daisy like embraces and like, just goes in and kisses Ingrid. I'm probably spoiling it, but
Yeah, well, that
so,
happens. Yeah, which is
and she
fun. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I'm skipping around now too, but we're basically to the point of the last few issues that we read,
Yeah,
and Ingrid's still around, and
right.
she's sort of moved in with them, and it's created some issues.
The
As,
mural that she made.
oh gosh,
Well, and
oh,
that's
yeah,
another reason why it's so well done because they just they walk into the living room and they see it made. She's like sketching it out and stuff, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And they like just let her have it or whatever, and then they come back into the living room and it's completely done, and it's like this moment. It's like this whole shit moment. Like, what are we looking at right now? And
yeah,
but the writer doesn't give it away right then and there.
yeah. They
They
don't
immediately
show it.
just show it. They
Mhm.
don't. You got to wait a little bit.
You just see everyone's reactions to it, which always makes everything probably as like worse than it is, right? But then you're like,
Right.
no, it has to be bad. They're really reacting poorly to this.
Right. And then you see it from the perspective of Ed, kind of. It's behind his head, and he's just like, just hanging out, just looking at the wall.
It's so perfectly done. And it's a
So good.
horrific mural. It's so bad. It is not good.
Right. And at this point, Susan's just like, she's got to go.
Yeah.
Just get her out of this house. But
And I think at this point, like, well,
mhm,
and Daisy and her start fighting a lot, so Daisy's
right.
not really over her being around and doing whatever she wants all the time too,
Yeah.
and that's creating further issues for everyone.
Right. Let's see. So, and that was then we're on to the last one, right? 7. which
Yeah.
is
And I mean, Esther's got a new job at the
right
comic shop,
at the comic shop, correct?
where
Which is
she doesn't know anything.
right.
She's great.
She's kind of just winging it. And then we meet. I don't know if I kind of feel like now we're just gonna
Yeah,
wing it. We
totally.
meet Susan's what is it, five sisters?
Oh, yeah. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, because she's one of 6, yeah.
she's the youngest, right?
Mhm.
So because the reason why we find out that the reason why Susan's dad went to go visit Susan and the girls was because he was having problems with his wife, or problems with Susan's mom. We find out that he's living in a caravan, like outside of the house. And they haven't really been talking much, and so it's now Susan's plan to get the family together and figure out a way to get them into to start talking again. So,
Yeah,
no, so we're introduced to four of them, and then the last sister comes out at the end, right? With the
so she made
baby.
3, 4, 5. Okay, so she's one of 7. Yeah, you're right.
27. Okay.
You're right, because, like, here's all of them at the table, and then the one
Right.
sister comes at the end, plus Susan.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
and none of her sisters are a part of this. They're just like,
Yeah.
parents do things, it's whatever. I don't want to
Yeah.
deal.
Like, what is the big deal, right?
Yeah, and Susan's like, whoa, we've got to fix this. Like, this is not
Right.
good, you know.
He's eating pie out of a tin can. Yeah, but that's Susan. She's determined to get her parents back, in better terms, and she's all in.
Seeing more Susan dynamic is wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just her with
I agree.
everyone is a good time.
Yep.
And
Uh,
I just found the page with the mural.
it is
Where
so good.
Oh, and it's supposed to be all of them, and they have someone put Post-its over the naughty bits, but yeah,
Yeah,
you see Ed looking at it on the wall, and it's just like the worst thing you've ever seen that Ingrid put on there. And right beside that, because that's so funny, and right beside that is Esther holding a Tegan and Sarah album. And she's like, and this is Stacey's first relationship, plus she's a lesbian Padawan learner,
yeah.
still trying to work out which Tegan and Sarah album is the best. And I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a Tegan
Right.
and Sarah super fan.
Oh yeah.
I love them so much. So yeah, just seeing that and like seeing the album, so
That is.
funny to me. There's also a point somewhere in the first, I want to say few issues, where
Mhm,
they're at like a bar, I think,
mhm.
maybe in a bathroom, and like people wrote stuff all over the wall.
Right.
And one of the things someone wrote was Tegan and Sarah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I
Out of
love
it.
that too.
Like, I was
So
like,
there, I just love these like little moments and things.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I love these things too. Like this is,
Right. Especially if the writer is into the same things that you are into
yeah,
and throws them in the book. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic.
yeah, it's great.
So good. I'm looking now at the episode. Ugh, I can't shake it,
It's
Kristen.
hot.
I
I
can't
know. You
shake
hear
it.
that?
The issue where Dean is about to get married
Oh my gosh.
to some girl in a
In like
in
a,
a RPG.
yeah,
And
like
that's
a World of Warcraft kind of.
exactly
Yeah. And he's like stressing about it, right?
right,
We never thought Dean, who's gonna like Dean? And that's what
right,
everybody's like, who would like Dean? What's going
right.
on here? And she ends up like coming to see him
Yeah,
in real life, and they get together and they're just
right,
like, this is a whole new guy. Like, what's going on here?
right. And he's like shook up about it.
Mm.
And Esther's convinced that he doesn't really want to go through with the marriage, and is trying to save the day because I believe he is one of the reasons why she got the job at the comic store.
Right, right, because she absorbed his
Right.
like
Exactly.
knowledge about that stuff and was
Right.
able to regurgitate some of it to the point
Yes.
where she got the job. Yeah.
Right. So now she's convinced that he needs help, and because he helped her, she was going to return the favor. So, but it kind of backfired.
That was a great one too. It's just
Yeah.
like every issue, I don't know about you, but I was just like, how do you keep thinking up these ridiculous scenarios
Yeah.
for them to get in, right?
It's
And it never gets old.
right, and I still have what eight more books left.
Yeah.
right? There's another 7. There was 14 trades, right?
14 trades
Plus
plus
the
the early stuff and the bonus stuff.
right. So
Hmm.
yeah, I still have all that to go. So I'm curious to see where it's gonna go.
Yeah, for sure. And
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 you
we did it
completed
on
this all, correct? I assume
I've what now?
you've completed it, the whole thing.
Yeah, so I was reading it as it came out. Like I said,
Right.
I mostly read it on Hoopla. I have a lot of the issues because I did put it on a pull list. My only pull list ever was Giant Days and Lumberjanes because I
Nice.
love both of them so much. I wanted to support them,
Right.
but I didn't really want the single issues. But I mean, I kind of did. Like I went out and there was like a variant for the last Giant Days issue ever, and I wanted to physically read it. I was like, I'm been on
Yeah.
this journey this for so long, right? And it was one of those like massive end
Right.
issues. So have that to look forward to because like
Okay.
they made it like double sized.
Nice.
And I won't tell you what happens, but I think it wraps up very nicely. Like you will be pleased, I believe.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. So and we do end this where we're at kind of halfway point,
Yeah.
where you see that like Daisy and Ingrid have made up and
Right.
things seem better, but like you can still tell Daisy is not sure
Yeah.
about it, you know?
The panel where she's kind of holding her,
Hmm.
and then at first is kissing her, but then looks up and is wide eyed.
Yeah.
Like she's definitely conflicted. Something's going on.
And you felt like so much through just that little
Just
moment.
through those 2 panels.
Yeah. She
All
didn't
you
have to do
needed.
anything. That's all you needed. That's,
Hmm.
that's great.
Yeah.
So
So,
at this point in your reading, clearly you love it, right?
oh, it's fine. It's like, it's part, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit today. It's part of the reason why I'm purging a lot of stuff is because of
Love
stories
it.
like this,
Love it.
that are, it's refreshing to me to read stuff like this. Everything from artwork to storytelling, and to know that there's other independent titles like this, um, where you don't know the outcome, right? I don't know where the story's going. Even the characters from the big two. You know what's gonna happen. You know who could still be around. Who's. It's just this is refreshing. So this was the comedic fix I needed in this type of medium, So, and just to show that it's not only superheroes and there's so many different types of genres within the comic book world. So A plus, 20 out of 10, like whatever the highest grade I could possibly give this is what I'm gonna give
Absolutely.
it. So I'm
Uh,
gonna jump into the rest and finish it off.
well, and if you would like to do this again, we can.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, we were talking right before, and I was like, man, I got toward the end of this, like, because I'm rereading it, but the end of this reread, and I was like, oh, I should have put post-its on these certain
Yeah,
pages.
we're gonna do
Like,
that
yeah, so we're gonna do that next time
yeah,
around.
for sure.
But if for some reason any of you have watched and you haven't read this, I feel like we still haven't quote unquote spoiled enough where like
No,
you could still read this and enjoy it, even if you know these little bits that we talked about. Like,
hmm
I think there's absolutely no reason why
yeah.
people still wouldn't enjoy it.
The dialogue is witty enough where there's just little things that I've in my real life that I've seen in her. Like, for instance, when Esther's like telling the girls to come, let's get some hugs in. She's like, give Mama what she needs. It's just little things like that. I think
Yeah,
they're cute and funny. But no, we totally, even though we hit some points, I think we gave everybody enough that they can just go in and read it and still be surprised on a bunch of stuff and laugh. So
absolutely.
yeah, it's good
I
stuff.
agree. My dad showed up. Miss Mrs.
Larry,
Umbrella Academy. Okay, okay. And you missed it. So is there ever going to be a nice big hardcover complete collection of all this stuff? We're hoping. Joe messaged John Allison, and John Allison was like,
he's
basically
hoping.
hoping it'll happen.
He wants it to happen. It looks good that it'll happen, but he can't obviously give me any concrete information or promises. So
I
I'm
really
gonna
hope
hold.
so. I'm so
Yeah,
sad that these are dead.
those are so good.
They're very, very nice. Even for like,
Boom.
they're not even oversized, they're standard, but they're still
Yeah,
really nice. And
they're
they
still good.
lay like, I was
Yeah.
rereading, they lay really flat and
Is Lumberjanes that same size?
yeah, it is. It is. It is. So, by the way, I think these are dead too. Ha! Love
But
it.
that all came out, right? Or no?
No, no. I'm sad forever. The last one that came out was volume 6. They could still do several more volumes, and they haven't. I'm
Oh,
just like,
that is lame.
oh, what are you doing? Like, oh, but yeah, these are, I mean, just very nicely done hardcovers, same size.
Uh,
I'm gonna be sad forever. Yeah, because I
yeah.
keep looking. I'm like, where? It's been. I think it's been a few years since the last one, so I
Oh,
don't.
that
I think we're done.
sucks.
Yeah, I'm very sad. So
And
now
they
I'm like,
did all
what do
these
I hit the
crossovers with them.
trades?
Yeah, they
I
did
don't.
some pretty high profile crossovers with Lumberjanes, right? With DC stuff.
Yeah, they're
Gotham
cool.
Academy, right?
Yeah, and that's a nice chunky trade you can get,
Yeah.
which is worth it. It's really good. But
No, I gotta
boom,
read
boom, boom, boom.
that.
Have you read any Lumberjanes?
No, I want to.
Okay, so what we should do
Okay.
on air? I'm gonna ask. We got to finish Giant Days, but
Yes.
then we should read Lumberjanes together. I think
Done.
you'll enjoy it.
Done. Let's do it.
Awesome, awesome.
I'm
Oh, and
in.
Chris said there's a special John did on his Patreon, Giant Days Batman.
What?
Listen, I need to get on his Patreon. I didn't know that existed. That is wonderful news, Chris. Thank you for that. I'm gonna check that out.
That I need to check out. That is a crazy team up.
My dad's saying me and your mom will watch this tomorrow. He's asleep. I figure. I'll see you in the morning, Dad. I'm going to see you in the morning. Yes, Lumberjanes. Chris knows what's up. Thank you for
Okay.
being here, Chris. We appreciate your
We'll do
knowledge,
it, Chris.
letting us know about names we forgot. I appreciate
Yep.
it.
We need people like you.
Yeah. Okay. I think my final question for you. It's a really hard one. Okay.
Oh boy. You didn't prep me for
I
this at
know.
all.
I know. I didn't let you know. I'm just curious. At
Uh-huh.
this point, do you have
Uh-huh.
a favorite character?
Oof.
It's hard, right?
I think it was the other day. I thought, what about if she asked me, well, who's my favorite character? Uh, I don't know. That's like saying this is gonna be a silly thing to say because you hear this all the time, but it's like making me pick between my kids.
And it really is because they're all so good. They
Yeah,
really are. And I'm thinking more of like I would say the main 5 at this point. It's not even
right.
just
It's
right.
definitely 5.
It's
Yeah,
definitely the main 5.
definitely 5. But are you? So now are you? I have to come up with an answer.
No, you don't. No. I was just curious if you had one. If you're like, oh, I always love seeing whoever, right?
I mean,
No, you
I
don't have.
I like Esther a lot. I think
Yeah,
Esther is. I mean, she's just too funny.
she's
And
so
then
unique.
to see where she came from in early registration,
Mm,
where you could, she was super intelligent. She was a leader of forget what committee, or she was a leader of something, and super smart, and things didn't go her way, and then she turns to this goth, you know, person. So she's just a fun character through and through. But all the girls, like Susan with the
I know.
flannel shirts and like,
Yeah. And the attitude, Susan
and yeah,
consistently was cracking
yeah,
me up with her attitude. But then
mm,
Daisy is like,
Daisy too.
you have to have them all, really,
Yeah,
right?
you need the three of them. They're dynamic, and I don't mean to exclude the guys, but I'm just saying the three girls.
Right.
Because you have again the motherly figure who's Daisy and making sure that everybody's taken care of. You have the wild child in Esther, and then you have the in between that she could be a little bit crazy or a little bit like a Daisy, but yeah, they all work well together. So
Yeah. I
yeah, I
agree.
would
And
say
it's kind
Esther
of
a little bit.
impossible to pick. I do have to share before we get off
Yeah,
that this usually hangs on my wall, but I grabbed it for this. So this is a Giant Days cover that I've
that
framed
is
because
awesome.
it's kind of hard to see. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it. Did you get
Yeah.
it signed?
I did. So
That's
Reed got me
amazing.
this
Where'd you
like
get the sign?
2017. Reed got me this from his website. He may still have some. I don't know. I haven't checked.
That's
But
awesome.
Reed also got me this Daisy
Wow.
drawing, which I
Nice.
really regret not going back and just getting all of them at that
Wait,
point.
was that behind you this entire time and I didn't
Yes.
catch that?
Well, it's kind of hard to
It
see
is. It is
here.
tiny.
Yeah, but I have to show it up close because it's a
That's
good one.
awesome. That is awesome. I'm
But
hoping he's at a Comic Con or something.
I swear, I don't think he ever does cons around here.
No. Ugh.
Not that I've known. I mean, maybe some of the bigger ones, and you're near bigger ones, so
So I'm
maybe.
assuming he wasn't at Heroes.
No. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, I would have lost my mind.
Yeah.
I would have.
Sign everything.
Yeah. I'd be one
Yeah.
of those people probably like, here's my long box, like,
Right. You
because
got
there
a
was some of
carrier
those I got
behind you.
like, oh my gosh, people with their like, I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know how you could feel okay with that. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
going up
no.
to someone and be like, here's my big box of stuff.
I
Sign
can't.
them all, and I'm like, no, I have to pick like 3 issues or something. Like,
It's just awkward. And like, do you really expect a human being to sign all of this stuff for you?
and people do it.
And there's like 20 other people behind this person.
I know, right? It's
Yeah,
nuts.
I
That's
don't know.
nuts. But real quick, my dad's in the chat trying to start videos with us. What if all 3 of us do a video and talk about the first Paper Girls series episode?
I'm in, Larry. I got the 3 books. I have to read those too.
Well, maybe we all need to talk about Paper Girls together. I would like to
Yeah,
read.
I have the deluxe editions. I gotta read those.
Cool.
I'm in.
Esther does have appearances in Scary Go Round. I heard that. I still haven't read Scary Go Round, so that's like
Wait, what is Scary Go Round?
Scary
See?
Go Round's one of the first things John Allison did, like a webcomic.
Oh,
You can
okay.
get it digitally. You can get a lot of his early stuff digitally, which
Cool.
I still haven't read a lot of that because I've just been waiting. I don't know.
Mhm.
I will say I would also love sometime future video ideas for us. We
Okay.
should just go through the John Allison catalog, okay?
I'm down. Let's do it.
Because Steeple,
He did that?
you've got to read Steeple. You remember me talking about Steeple, I assume? Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know he did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. Well, I shouldn't show that.
Did he do the artwork?
Yes. And there are 2 trades of this.
Man, now I need this.
You'll have such a good time with Steeple.
Oh, you just gave me plans tomorrow to go to comic book shop.
It's so good. And of course, after Giant Days, we have to read Wicked Things together.
Okay, I'll check that
Because
out.
it is technically a spinoff.
Okay, I'm gonna message you so you can send me all these types. Well,
Yeah,
Steeple I knew about,
and we could read Bad Machinery together, which is another thing he did.
I don't know. I didn't know anything about these things.
Yep, this was earlier as well. It's one of those wide books that's hard to hold.
I need all of these. Is that still available?
I think so. And I will say I have the first. It's one of those weird formats. So I have the first like 2 or 3 in hardcover.
Okay.
The rest in paperback. I think there were like 8 or so.
Hmm.
And then they came out with pocket editions where they're smaller, so they're not as unwieldy to hold.
Right.
They're cheaper and smaller, and they all came out in the same format, I think. So you may want to go that route. I went the weird route because I started before that.
Right. I'm gonna have
But
to
anyway, my point is, if you love John Allison, I can bring you down the rabbit hole.
Let's do it. I am down.
And clearly Chris can too, so that's good.
Yeah. Yes.
I've only seen him do content in Europe. Yeah, I think he did some like little ones back in the day, but
yeah,
it's been a while. Oh, Jessica's down for Paper Girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jessica hit me with a question on Instagram the other day. It was like fictional deaths that hit you hard. It's a pretty good question.
That is a good question. It's a rough question.
Yeah, it's a rough question.
Come out later this year. Yeah, Steeple's wonderful. And 10 pocket editions. Okay, thank you, Chris, because I never got the pocket ones. I couldn't remember.
Okay. I'll have to look see if what's available.
It's a good time. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this, Joe. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on your channel.
Of course. And everyone, please check out the Guz Buzz. He's making amazing content. He's editing like a mofo. It's great. Like you're killing it. I love it.
There should be new videos on Monday. There should be some new stuff.
Looking forward to that. Yeah. Oh, Thank you, Jackie.
Jackie, thank you so much for. So I'm gonna put it out there, Jackie. I'm gonna tell the world. So we're trying. She's a big Berserk fan, as am
Mm,
I.
okay.
So we want to do a show similar to this, where we're just going down the Berserk rabbit hole. But I want to do it live. But she's never
Cool.
done. She's never been on YouTube or anything like that. So we'll see. Sometime in September.
That's something I still want to read.
She said, "Oh my god, you well, are you a fan?"
Um,
Mm,
I read the first volume of Berserk like years ago,
right, right.
and it was from my library. They just didn't have the rest. So something I was interested in. I will say, yes, I did grab some deluxes, so I do have those
Okay,
ready, but I've not officially jumped in.
sure.
But I'm looking for the chance. So maybe whenever y'all do that, I need to
All
be
right.
reading it as well. So
Yeah, yeah. Because she's read it all. I've only read up to I think it's deluxe volume 4. So,
okay,
so
cool,
it'll be a good like I'll read up into that point, and then she could be the old reader, and I'll be the new reader.
nice,
So we'll see.
nice.
We'll
And
see.
you'll
Sometime in
finally
September.
get me to read it probably, and then I can watch it.
Mhm.
It'll be fun. Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see.
All right, and thank you, Chris, for being here. Great show. Have a
Chris,
good
thank you
night.
so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Dad. For the thumbs
Thanks,
up.
Larry.
It's not for everyone, but it's great. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
All right. Well, have a
All
great
right,
night,
guys.
everybody. Thank you for being
Take
here.
care.
And subscribe to Joe. Link
And
down in the
subscribe.
doobly doo.
If you didn't subscribe to Kristen yet, and you're just lurking, do it.
And we will have a part 2, Giant Days.
Yeah,
It'll happen sometime.
for sure. For sure.
And thank you, Mary. Good night. Thanks for hanging. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.